Thank you, everybody, for your support. We will see how this goes. It's a lot of fun.
Woo woo.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for DemoFest 2024. My name is Mark Green. I'm the Director of Buyer Enablement and Pre-Sales here at Consensus, and I will be your moderator for today's session. DemoFest is presented by Consensus. We're leading the world into a new era of demo automation. Our platform gets your buyers what they need when they need it. It then multiplies your revenue team's impact with unique insights on those buyers. As a result, you'll see faster close times, larger deals, and higher close rates. You can learn more at goconsensus.com or view the automated demo via the link in the Docs tab on the right of your screen. We are very excited to announce we are bringing DemoFest back on the road again as DemoFest X. We had a great time in San Francisco in February, and we can't wait to bring back the event to London and New York City again later this year. You can register to join us at demofest.com or via the link in the Docs tab on the right of your screen. We encourage you to participate in today's session. On the right-hand side of your console, you can see a few ways to engage with us throughout the session. The chat function will allow you to engage with us as well as other attendees. Throughout the session, you may see a few polls. We encourage you to participate as your feedback is very important to us. Our speaker will be taking questions from the audience at the end of the session. But of course, you can ask questions at any time through the Q&A box. If at any time you are having technical difficulties, head to the gear icon on the bottom of your screen. And here you will see a help document to help troubleshoot common issues. And now, it's the moment you've all been waiting for, kicking off 3 full days of the freshest and most impactful thought leadership from over 50 global professionals. And kicking us off, I am honored to welcome our CEO, Doug Johnson.
Well, thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it. I am Doug Johnson, and I am thrilled to be here and so excited to kick off DemoFest. And before we get started, I just want to thank you actually for being a part of this and for helping create this industry. It's been an amazing ride that I've watched from a distance, and now I get to be a part of it. And I just thank you for coming together through this DemoFest event and helping us innovate and in finding our path forward. And I think you'd agree that it's truly an exciting time. And it's not an exaggeration to say that it's even a revolutionary time. We refer to it as a buyer's revolution because the game is changing. And we together in this industry are creating significant impact and making a very real difference in the lives of pre-sales and the lives of sales and frankly, the entire buying journey, but more importantly, the buyers themselves. I think that at this point in time, let's face it, buying enterprise software, it's been awful. And from the CEO's perspective, outside of this industry, that has been my experience on behalf of my customers. It's been awesome, or rather awful, slow, frustrating, and broken in many, many ways. And it's certainly not how customers desire it. And looking back, you started this journey together really just a few short years ago, thinking that if you could automate the demo, just the demo itself, this would be revolutionary. And with it, we could scale pre-sales and we could support more customers and track their activity, et cetera. And we've found that this has produced something nothing short of remarkable. And because what we've learned is that customers truly are wanting or actually preferring to buy digitally and buy asynchronously. Customers want to buy on their terms, and this is clear. Only 17% of a prospect's time is spent in front of a live person. 83% of the buying process is without live sales support. 83%, it's asynchronous. So there is a better way. And this is what we've learned. There is a better way. The customers have spoken. Your customers will buy more and buy faster if they're enabled digitally, asynchronously. Essentially, we are extending the pre-sales knowledge and talent and skill through the buying journey. Pre-sales and their knowledge, your knowledge, is in demand. It's in demand throughout the buying funnel. Now, from the earliest marketing efforts to the eventual prospect C-suite, demos, tours, digital experiences travel virally, adapting to each viewer, revealing hidden stakeholders, and answering key questions along the way. At Consensus, we feed this powerful data on the buyer's traffic and buyer's intent back to sales teams with every click, multiplying their sales readiness and their impact. And that's all done in seconds. A new term is born, demolytics, buyerlytics. Together, this industry is changing on how buyers and sellers interact. And the results are profound. We see our customers' deal sizes double, 2x. We see our customers' speed of closing improving by 30% and more. And we have just started. Now we see AI coming in and playing a vital role in assisting the buyers on this journey and the sellers as well. And you'll see this next wave of AI innovation this week, actually, as we unveil it. And you'll meet Clarity. And I believe you'll like her and love what you see there. And we really believe that this pre-sales plus AI fueled technology will start with marketing, extend through customer success, and we believe that AI will be the co-pilot, Clarity, accessing intent data and serving up to buyers and sellers alike with next best actions. And we're underway today building this and planning the future innovation of how buyers and sellers engage and how to enable buyers to combine the best of video and product interaction and discovery automation and AI to deliver this unparalleled experience for the buyers as well as the sellers. So DemoFest is the place where this all comes together. DemoFest is the place where all of us come together. And together, we're going to change this industry. Together, we'll complete this mission. Together, we will win. Absolutely, we'll win, and we're going to win together. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Susan Beal. And I haven't spent a lot of time with Susan, but I'll tell you this about her, man. What a force of nature, what a powerful and wonderful human being she is. Chief Customer Officer of Blue Yonder. But what she won't tell you is she started as a COBOL programmer a few years ago. The fact that it's COBOL, we can guess about how many years ago. But my goodness, she gets the journey and what we're about and is part of this evolution that's taking over. Susan, I'm going to hand it over to you for the keynote. Thank you so very, very much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Beal.
Thank you, Doug, and good morning, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. Welcome to DemoFest 2024. I'm honored to be asked to deliver today's keynote for two big reasons. Number one, I am a Consensus customer. It's a great product. We're getting great results from it. I'm really excited to share more about our journey. But more importantly, I was really impressed with the agenda that this team put together. Usually when you go to a product conference or a pre-sales conference, it's really tactical. This one is really strategic. This is all about broadening your horizons, deepening your expertise. How do we leverage this product better? And more importantly, how do you grow your career? How do you go from where you are today, either as an individual contributor or as a leader, and take that next step in the organization? So today we're going to talk a lot about the very timely convergence of pre-sales and customer success. And that's what I'm really excited to talk to you about. So we're going to walk through my experience, what I see in the space, my recommendations for you. And I'm going to start with, if you're not already on the radar of your chief customer officer, you should be, because there's no more natural alignment in any organization from my perspective than pre-sales and customer success. And I'll let you in on a little secret before we begin. Your title might say pre-sales, but we are all in customer experience. And this next wave of buyer-led selling is really going to make us focus on that even more. What are their goals? What are their outcomes? What is the value they're trying to drive? And how can you deliver that? So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can dive right into the content. So today's session is titled Pre-sales is your key to next level customer experience. And I'm going to take you on a view from the C-suite. So as mentioned, I'm Susan Beal. I'm Chief Customer Officer at Blue Yonder. If you're not familiar with Blue Yonder, it's end-to-end supply chain software. We serve the globe's largest manufacturers, retailers, and third-party logistics companies with everything across that buying cycle, demand planning, omni-channel, e-commerce, warehouse transportation. You name it, if you're trying to move or buy product, we're here to help you do it more efficiently and effectively in the world of ongoing constraints and changes. Today, what we're going to talk about is 5 things. First, I'm going to set the stage. We're going to spend a little bit of time here. I want to talk about what does the C-suite think about pre-sales? What's the journey pre-sales has been on? I'm going to take you through my journey and how I've moved through different organizational roles as well. We're going to come back and talk about the pre-sales evolution. So how has this pre-sales job changed? What does that mean for everyone on the call today? Then I want to really dive us in on how are pre-sales and customer success converging? What are the things you need to know and keep in mind, and how can you leverage those in your day-to-day? And then how do I take that and apply it for next level customer experience as a pre-sales person? We'll end with how do we empower you for success? What are some opportunities for you to drive your career forward? Different tools, different learning opportunities, and very honestly, some great sessions today and tomorrow and the next day at DemoFest. So with that said, let's dive in. And I want to start with the view from the C-suite. So again, your pre-sales, you're typically working for the CRO. When you see the CRO and what their priorities are on an organization, it's revenue generation, it's sales performance, it's customer satisfaction. You are a tool to help them drive those sales cycles forward, and you do it exceptionally well. When we move to the CFO, that focus and that lens expands. They're really looking at firm financial performance. How is this company going to grow? How do we competitively position our solutions to grow? And they're looking to pre-sales for what are the investment decisions we want to make? What are the gaps our customers are identifying? What are you seeing in terms of how we can forecast and budget differently? Revenue impact remains huge. The CEO's view is the broadest. And as you just heard from Doug, this is all about that end-to-end market understanding, trust and credibility, strategic differentiation. Yes, revenue generation, but really importantly, not just acquiring customers. How do we keep them? How do we retain that customer? And with SaaS, keep them on that journey with us. So it's really a big focus. The good news is all of these roles see pre-sales as strategic, as critical, as really important. There is a big spotlight on pre-sales in every company, whether you see it or not. There is a huge opportunity for you if you're ready and you take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. So all of these roles, great strategic alignment. What I want to focus on, though, is the CCO, so Chief Customer Officer. Of all these roles, other than the CEO, I believe that the CCO is your closest advocate in any company. They know that pre-sales is crucial to the overall company strategy and success. We are the other side of the bookend that you are teeing up. You often hear the words pre-sales is the tip of the spear. You're in there leading the charge, and you absolutely are. It's not just for the sales team. It's for the entire company. It's not just for product. It's not just for sales. The insights you are gaining, how you are positioning the product for those companies, how you are teeing up trust and expectations of what this relationship is going to feel like is critical. But the most important thing that you're doing for your CCO is you're setting up what are the outcomes that customer should expect. With SaaS, they're not buying software just because they want software. They're trying to drive outcomes. We need to know what they are. We need to set appropriate and reasonable expectations. And if we can do that and deliver that product, this customer is going to stay with us as long as we can prove it. So alignment with the C-suite is critical. There are a lot of different roles looking at your value. And again, my argument is that CCO alignment is one you might not have today, but I'm going to encourage you to double down on. All right, what I want to do now is walk you through a little bit of my journey because it's a little bit unique. So Doug already outed me. I was a COBOL programmer. I have been doing this since I was 12 years old. I started in Y2K when everyone was buying software because they thought their microwave was going to explode, planes were going to go down, buildings were going to blow up. It was going to be the end of the world and everything needed to be recoded. I got really lucky. I joined a great company. It was a software company and it also did consulting. I started as a programmer, quickly moved into professional services. So spent the first 5 years of my career customer facing, doing project work, loved it. One thing that you'll hear through each of these moves through these columns is at every opportunity when I moved jobs, someone above me saw something and reached down and said, we want you to try something else. And honestly, I fought them kicking and screaming. So I came out of college, I was a business major, and the job that offered me the most money was a COBOL programmer. So I said, great, put me in. Became a COBOL programmer for 2 years. Thought I was doing great. Someone came and said, we think you'd actually be really great in professional services. I said, it's not me. I'm a COBOL programmer. They said, you're really not. Trust us. So they plucked me and put me over in professional services. And it was great. I got to hear from the customers more directly what they needed, help them achieve their goals. And I started to see all of these RFPs on the shelf that they kept referring to. What is this? And who set these expectations with you of what you were going to get? And I really wanted to move upstream to get closer to that starting point of the sale. At which point we had a new head of sales came in. Our company got bought by CGI. And the head of sales said, we think you'd be really great in sales. And as any true implementation professional would, I said, that is not me. I am a professional services person. I can't join the dark side of sales. And he said, well, in fact, you are. So I got picked up and moved over into the pre-sales organization where I just fell in love with the job. What an amazing opportunity to set expectations up front with customers of what they're going to get, to showcase how these products can help them. It was an incredible role, an incredible ride. And after a little while of sitting in the back of the room with all of these sales reps that didn't really know our product and didn't really tell a great story, I said, I'm going to do that job. So I jumped into the account executive role for 3 years and carried a bag. I was the top seller at the company. I loved it. But I kept doing my own demos. And they said, you really should pick one job. So I said, okay, put me back in pre-sales. That's the job that I love. So I did that. At which point a competitor said, I'm going to a new company called Infor, and I want you to come run pre-sales for me. So someone I had never met, had heard of me through customers that were buying our product and choosing my company. And he said, come with me and help me run pre-sales. An incredible gentleman pulled me into Infor, where I rose up to run pre-sales globally for the company. Again, an incredible opportunity. We had about 450 pre-sales professionals where I learned how to manage managers, which was an entirely different perspective. And if this is you and you're learning how to manage managers for the first time, you know it's different than managing individual contributors. There are a lot of great resources. I'll highly encourage you to check out Pre-Sales Collective if you haven't already, if that's the position you're in today. And after I worked with Global Pre-Sales, our CEO came to me and said, we want you to do for the customer office what you've done for pre-sales. And that was a huge mind shift for me. I had always been, for the past 10 years in the pre-sale. We said, we want to connect that journey. We want to do all the things we've been doing in pre-sales around automating and digitizing and building up that experience and leading with value. We want to do it across that end-to-end journey. So what an incredible opportunity to be selected to proceed into that role. I then moved over into Blue Yonder and said, you know what, I really miss pre-sales. I want to go back into it, and led an incredible team of pre-sales professionals here. At which point we had an executive office change, and the CEO stepped in and said, we really want you to come back and do the chief customer officer job. So as you can see, I've kind of spanned a lot of things. The themes that you're hearing here, someone else always said, I've got a great idea for what you're going to do next. Or there was a great vision for what was coming in. And it was really awesome to get to go back and forth between the pre-sale and the post-sale to see what the challenges are, to work with all these different teams. I think it gives me a really unique lens when we're looking at this end-to-end customer journey of what all these stakeholders are looking for. What are the challenges? How do we work well together? How do we align our goals? Because really, we're all in customer experience, regardless of our title. So that's my background. So today I am Chief Customer Officer at Blue Yonder. We've got 3,000 customers running our end-to-end supply chain. We are on the SaaS journey, as many of you are. This is an enterprise company. We've got a lot of products that are there today. We've also got some legacy ones in the works. So a big journey for me throughout my career. Wanted you to have that backstory as we go through the next slides. So let's talk about another journey. This is the journey of the customer. There are lots of versions of customer journey maps, but I like this one because it's really simple and it clearly points out the differentiation point here in the middle with this $sign. So here's the sale. Customers come to us because they want something and they think we have it. So if we've pulled them in through our awareness campaigns, we start talking through them through the sales process. They get down to evaluation and they're comparing us to other customers or other solutions. They make the choice to buy. Typically, here is where we see the legacy pre-sales function kind of disengage and go back in to just that revenue cycle. My argument for everyone on this call is I need you to come below that $sign. We want to expand your impact and your opportunities within every company by coming on down to the post-sale side. If we've done our work correctly at the top of the journey, this bottom half becomes exponentially more valuable to every company. With SaaS, it's no longer about buy the product and just pay us one time or pay us maintenance. This is a renewal opportunity every few years, if not annually. If they're not seeing value, if they're not moving forward, if they're not talking about what's next, they're likely not going to stay with you as a customer. No matter how sticky you are, it's easy to lose that investment at the end of the year if times are tight, when your CFO comes to you with a long list of products and says, which of these can we cut because we've got to make some tough choices. You need to be the product that hits the top of the list on value. So adoption, are the customers using it? Expansion, what else could they be using? What's next? What are the adjacent solutions? And advocacy is critical. I want to spend a minute on advocacy because to me, that's the mark of success with any customer journey. I'll take the money. I'll take the renewal. I really want that customer also raising their hand to say great things about my product. If they're willing to talk to other customers about their experience, they're willing to share their story, that is success, hands down. How we get there is by setting the right expectations up front. So at Blue Yonder, we're really big on say-do, and you've probably heard this before. It's the say-do ratio. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. If you say it and you do it, you're at 100% say-do. That's what we're looking for. Same thing goes for setting that expectation for your customers in their experience with your solutions. If you're going to say that it does something, it's going to have to do that. You have to make sure you're teeing this customer up for success. We've all filled out multiple thousand lines RFPs. It's critical that we get those right, that we're setting the right expectations. But it's equally important that we're not just answering the mail on those checklist items. We have to be driving the conversation towards value. We have to be asking them, how are you going to prove success? Have you baselined those metrics? Keeping that end in mind, we have to make sure we're targeted that focus on value and how we're going to prove it. So speaking of the customer journey and my journey, there's one more journey that I want to walk you through, and that is the journey of pre-sales. This job has changed so much since I got into it. And this is a slide that I used 3 years ago. I'm actually going to add another column today for where I think this is going next. Pre-sales 1.0, when I got into it, it was a check the box function. I was carrying around 2 laptops and a hard case that we connected with crossover cables. There was no internet dial-up. We were doing hosted machines, and our job was show the features. It was a lot of PowerPoint with some demo. The big revolutionary thing at the time was tell, show, tell. Tell them what you're going to tell them, do the demo, and show them. It was a simpler time, certainly before SaaS. Our goal was make the product look good. Then along came Presales 2.0. We had a lot more people coming out and saying, hey, how you present is really important. How you're telling the story is really important. So for Presales 2.0, we really focused on really slick demos and really slick presentations. So it was really all about how can you make this product look amazing with mobility and analytics and early cloud environments and slick demos. It was really all about it being almost an event, a presentation per se, as opposed to a classroom experience. Presales 3.0 then came in probably in around 2010 in my experience, where we were shifting from really focusing on the product to focusing on what does the product do? What are the outcomes? How can we move this forward? And what we also saw with that was a need to engage earlier in the sales cycle. We weren't waiting for the sales rep to tell us this is what's going to matter or this is what you want to cover. Pre-sales started engaging earlier in those conversations to help shape the vision of what we were going to show. And the focus moved to outcomes. What are we going to drive? A lot more work with transformation advisory. And I think this was a huge pivot for a lot of folks that were traditionally just focused on product. So I was talking with Mark and Doug prior to this call, and I said, when I'm done with this CCO position, I think I'm going to go back into pre-sales and I'm going to do demos, because what I know now about what matters is very different than what I thought mattered when I was in pre-sales at the beginning of my career. I thought it was really important to have the coolest data and the best reports and just really focus on how to use the product, which is almost in stark contrast to what customers really want to know about. When I buy software today, I want to know, how is this product going to help me revolutionize my business process? How are you going to make me a better demand planner? How are you going to make my supply planners more efficient? How are you going to connect the silos? It's not what the product does. It's not even what the product, it's not what the product is. It's not what the product does. It's what the product means and how is it going to help me? So I'm going to add on a fourth box here for Presales 4.0, where I think we're going with the convergence of presales and customer success. I think we're bringing all of this together into a customer experience architect, where we're setting the expectation of what this relationship is going to feel like, how the product is going to help you do it, and how we're going to prove that with product telemetry. AI, let's face it, it's going to change these jobs. We're not going to have people keying in functions into forms. There are going to be bots for that. Our people are going to be analyzing or leading bots and looking at outcomes and what can I do with this, and then pressing buttons to automate it. This world is about to change in amazing ways, especially for those of us in the software industry. Presales is on a great ride. I am really excited to see how this keeps going through and this presales teams keep functioning and changing differently. But I want to double click kind of on that Presales 4.0 and how these roles are coming together. So here is my Venn diagram of presales and customer success. So on the left side of the screen, you've got your traditional presales roles. And on the right side, you've got your traditional customer success roles. And I want to focus today on this middle bit where we have overlap and kind of a symbiotic relationship here. So let's be clear. Presales lays the foundation for successful customer experience. If we get it wrong up front, it's very hard to catch it up on the back end. If you do a great job up front with these pieces, you make the job downstream exponentially easier. And it's really important that you're talking to your customer success counterpart, because what they also see is great benchmark stats on what customers are doing, how they're using it. All of this can feed back through your demo cycles of this is what it does to this is what it means. They've got great stories for you that you should be leveraging if you're not today. Okay, so pre-sales, what are we doing? We have to know the solution. You've got to support your sales counterparts, make sure they know what a good deal is, what a good deal is not when you see those. We've got to look at our customers and make sure that their needs are a match. You've got to bring technical expertise, but where before that was really the highlight and focus of the job, that's really become the starting point for today. The job's gotten a lot meatier over time because you've got to know that value proposition. You have to know the business process that your customer's coming in for. You've got to know what they're doing. If that's not something you know, if you're really rooted in, I know what the product does and how to make it work really well, that's great. Go find your customer success counterpart and ask them, how are they using this? What are some success stories? How can I tell a better business story? We're always looking for resources for how do we expand our intel. They're sitting in your company and they would probably love to learn more about the product from you. Set up a lunch and learn, set up a great relationship, pick someone in your company and partner with them. This will be great for both of you. If you're less familiar with what customer success does at a really high level, this varies at different companies. They typically start with onboarding and implementations. They're really focused on driving adoption and engagement with the product. So just because you sell something doesn't mean it's a check the box on usage. We've got to get their users online, adopting the product, logging in, using the processes, looking at what's next. We're also really focused on relationship management. So not just the user level, but are the leaders seeing value? Are their executives engaged with ours? Do we have that top-to-top alignment? Are we getting business reviews where we understand how they're doing and what's next and how we continue to work together? That leads into retention and expansion. Everyone on this call that works for a SaaS company, retention and expansion is key. For my company, at least 60% of our revenue comes from existing customers. We expand heavily, and that is the job of both customer success and pre-sales together. That only happens if we have an exceptional customer experience and we've set up great relationships. These teams are naturally aligned to make that happen. And again, as we started on the earlier slide, advocacy is critical. We need every customer to know going live is not the hallmark of success. Achieving your business outcomes and being willing to share your story, that's what success looks like and feels like for us. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say everything's perfect, and there are historical tensions between the groups, so I want to acknowledge those, and I want to make sure that we know what they are so we can avoid them and we can solve them if you have them at your company. Traditionally, there are misaligned goals between pre-sales and customer success. If you look at the charter that pre-sales typically has, it's net new selling or expansions, but it's all about revenue. If you have a customer that's already bought your product, servicing them is probably not on your CRO's wish list for you to do. Unfortunately, if we're not doing that, that customer is going to get dissatisfied and might not stay. There's also historically communication breakdown between the beginning of the sales cycle and when customer success gets engaged. A lot of that is because there are a lot of conversations that we don't document, or we have all the information, but we don't do a really clean handover. If you hear nothing else from me today, the handover that you do for your downstream teams is going to make or break that customer's experience. They have to know, what are the goals? Why did they buy this product? And no, it's not because they wanted whatever product you have. It's because they want to increase revenue. They want to lower risk. They want to lower costs. They're looking to drive a clear benchmark. We need to know what that is and how they're going to measure that success. A CSM coming in at the end of an implementation saying, hi, I'm your new CSM. What was it you were trying to get out of this product? It doesn't go over well. We have to align internally better. Another item on here is account ownership. Not sure if this is a focus for your company, but who owns the customer can be a bone of contention at different companies. I'm going to argue the company owns the customer and we're all aligned to serve them. Sales is absolutely a seat at the table, but so is customer success, so is product, so is support. No one team owns that company or that relationship. We need to make sure we're working in partnership to do it. And compensation structure doesn't always help. So make sure you understand how each role is compensated, because that's going to tell you what's going to drive their behavior. And it can also show you maybe an area that you've got a blind spot on because of that compensation structure. We definitely don't want finger pointing. What's going to solve all of this, guys, is collaboration. We have to make sure that we're communicating. We have to make sure that we're collaborating across the teams, not just CS and pre-sales, but across all of them. If you're here because you want to understand how you can grow your career, the best thing that you can do is get to know the other parts of the business and how they function, what their goals are, how they're measured, how they think they're aligning with you. You have to reach out and understand bigger picture, how this company comes together. So let's talk about how we can get a next level CX through pre-sales. And by CX, I mean customer experience. Number one, as a pre-sales person, we need you to have a deep understanding of customer needs. I know when we do discovery, a lot of times our discovery is really focused on doing a great demo, or what features would they need to see, or what modules would make sense. We really need to make sure we're leading additionally with outcomes. What are the outcomes that you're trying to drive? And make sure the customers know what they're looking for. Blue Yonder had our user conference last week, and I had 3 customers up on stage with me. And I asked each of them, what was your big lesson learned from your implementation? And a CIO from one of our companies said, the biggest lesson learned we have is that we need internal alignment on what our big goal is for this project. A lot of times you start a project and you think you know what the goal is, but then new executives come in, new priorities come in. And if you haven't documented your mission statement, this is the goal, this is what success is going to look like, it's really hard to keep that North Star at the front. So to keep us successful and to keep that product successful and showing value, we need to know what those outcomes are. We need to document them, and we need to refer to them internally, and then the customer needs to know them as well. Third bullet here, identify product expansion opportunities up front. If you're like Blue Yonder and you have a really broad portfolio, they're probably not coming in and buying all of it up front. If they are, we're going to have a different conversation around adoption and usability. They're probably starting with a first piece, and then they'll expand from there. When we're showing them the vision, that whole end-to-end set of capabilities, it can be hard for them to understand the phasing, what's in, what's out, what's moving. We need to be clear and transparent with customers about what they're going to get up front, and then what is that best next step for them. If we can tee up for them that expectation of, first, we're going to start here, and then we're going to continue to expand and add capabilities on for you, that's going to really help downstream when your customer success team is checking the box on that success and starting to plan for what's next. That's revenue for the company. That's growth for our organization. That's success for the company. I think I've hit on bullet 4 a lot already. The collaboration between pre-sales and customer success is going to help you with next level customer experience through pre-sales. This is where you can go to get all of those success stories that you need. When I came up through pre-sales, when I started, I had 5 years of implementation experience. I had great stories. Recently, we started hiring more junior pre-sales people into the role, and they didn't come in with those stories. If that's you and this resonates, I highly encourage you to find a customer success buddy in your organization to get those stories. It's a lot easier than trying to tap your Uber top pre-sales person to get them because they're probably super busy. So great opportunity there. And if you're in pre-sales leadership, I'll encourage you to reach out to customer success leadership. How can we do a better handoff? What are the challenges that each team has? How can we work better together? I'll also challenge everyone on the call, when you're with a customer and you're positioning the product, you're positioning the company, a lot of times we don't talk about the customer experience and what is that going to feel like? What is that going to look like? Am I going to have an executive sponsor? Are there user groups I can be a part of? Are we going to have regular business reviews? That care and ongoing guidance is equally important to the product itself. Yes, we need technical product selection, but over time, the relationship is what's going to keep us together. So we want to make sure we're leading with that. Set that expectation up front that we're going to put this product in successfully. We're going to come out of the other side and we're going to talk about the experience and what's next. And I'll always encourage you to use data for any conversations that you're having across the company or up within the organization. Bringing insights and analytics that people don't always have access to is really important. So if you can talk about how you're expanding win rates or how you're shortening the sales cycle, that's awesome. It would also be great to say, hey, in the opportunities where we really took the time to document upfront what were their ROI goals and baseline them, those customers have a much higher chance of staying with us and renewing. That's really powerful connect the dots conversations you can have with your renewals team, with your CS team. All of this data is huge. I know there's also a lot of focus with pre-sales on going back to the product team. What are the gaps? Where can we do better investment? How can we take this forward? Remember that product team is working really, really hard. And we often go back to them with a lot of complaints on product, excuse me. I want to encourage you to be more team focused inside of your company. You cannot and should not do this job alone. You have to have allies and advocates across the company. You have to have them across the business. If you're looking to move up in the organization, there are a lot of rooms and tables you will not be at, and you need an advocate at those tables. And the way you get those is by aligning with executives at different parts of the company. Align at your level, the next one up. Take every visibility opportunity that you can and that you have access to. There is a giant spotlight on pre-sales when you do these presentations. You have a lot of leaders that come in and watch and observe. Huge opportunity for you to really stand out and impress them with all of this knowledge that you're bringing to the table. Okay, speaking of empowering pre-sales for success, I was really excited, excuse me, about the agenda for this year's Demo Fest. I pulled out 5 sessions, even just today, that if I was on here, I would be all over. Number 1 goal, if you are on here and you are an individual contributor, you need to be working on your personal brand. What does that mean? Not just what the product does, how are you applying it? So taking it from what it is and what it does to what it means. So work on, and you could go to it 11 o'clock right after this, awaken the powerful presenter within. Presentation skills are huge. If you're not already using Demo Coach in online PowerPoint, turn that on. Start doing your dry runs with Presentation Coach. It's going to immediately tell you all the filler words you're using. Are you going too quickly? Are you just regurgitating what's on the slide? It can make you a great presenter. I know there are a lot of great tools on here on this agenda to help you. If you are looking to get into leadership, or if you are already there, the charter for you here is expand your alignment within this company. Yes, manage your manager. Yes, manage up, but I need you to go broader. 3 sessions on here that I was really excited about. Again, at 11 o'clock, evolving pre-sales and sales to support CS. I'm cheering from the cheap seats on that one. All the yes. 3 p.m., unifying the client experience. This is all about that customer journey. Where do you fit in? How do we make this customer's experience seamless? And heads up, the transitions, those handovers is where we stumble all the time. How do we make that better? 4 p.m., if you didn't already put a gold star on this one, this is being led by a rock star in CS. Early arrival, how do we get CS into the sales process? I started talking about it today. It's a huge differentiator for every company. If you're doing it well, get that in front of your customers and get these sessions on your agenda. The next 2 days are going to be another 2 days of incredible impact and alignment. Super excited to see the sessions that come up. I've got a few takeaways, and then I'm going to wrap it up for this session. So takeaways from my journey that I encourage for all of you. Number 1, be visible. You have an incredible job if you are in pre-sales. I'm actually going to rewrite pre-sales to just be customer experience, because that's frankly what we are. Be visible. Make sure you are ready. If you are asked to do a presentation, make it amazing. You just never know who's going to be in that room. One of my first presentations at Infor, I had a group of 2 other pre-sales leaders with me, and we were asked to come to a development summit. And they said, we want you to tell us all the focus areas that we need to be working on. And we knew we were going into the lion's den because there was a lot of stuff that needed to be done. We walked in there with a tight script of these are the 6 priorities. This is the customer feedback on why it's a pain. We thanked them for their partnership and collaboration. And coming out of that, I got a personal note from the CEO thanking me for that opportunity. And he is later the one that promoted me to Chief Customer Officer. You just never know what presentation is going to be a game changer for your career. When you're asked to speak, be visible, be ready, be data-driven. I had 2 other pre-sales leaders with me. They didn't want to do it. I jumped at that chance. Take the hard job. If there's something that scares you, definitely take the hard job. No good comes from staying safe and in your comfort zone. That's not where you grow. Okay, so that's what you can do. Separately, you can't do it alone. You absolutely have to have a mentor. You have to have a network of people that's advocating for you. Start collecting your people that you can count on and trust to speak on your behalf when you're not in the room. I know exactly who I can say thank you to at each company for getting me to that next step. Relationships matter. You're not going to get them by just staying in your team. You've got to grow. You've got to look for partnerships and alliances across that organization. I'm going to argue that customer success is probably a great one to continue adding to if you haven't yet. My last point, we are all in customer success. I don't care what your title is. If you are in SaaS software, we are all sitting in front of the customer, trying to prove to them the value of renewing and advocating for us on our behalf. So with that said, Mark, I'm done. I'm going to hand it back to you and we can open up the floor if there are any questions.
Fantastic. Yes. So there are some questions. You have got tongue wagging. People's ideas are flowing both in the chat and in the Q&A. So
Awesome.
For all the people in the audience, feel free to go and add some more. We will get through as many as we can in the time. The first one was from Rue Dickinson, and he would love to hear your take on what you see is the same or different about pre-sales skill sets versus consulting or PS skill sets.
I would say that the foundational skills are similar because you need to know how to use the product. The skill sets in consulting is going to be more of, if you choose this, this is what it means for the customer, and helping to guide them between those choices and using them to drive better business performance. In pre-sales, you're going to be the one making those choices based on discovery, but just using the software, again, is not the bottom of that is, does, means. I think consultants live more at the bottom of the is and does, and pre-sales, you got to get to the means. If you're not jumping up right to the top of that pyramid of value, I think that's different. And I think selling skills are really different. I mean, when I was first approached and they said, you're going to be in sales, I don't even want to say what I thought about sales, but I thought they were crooks and liars and terrible, terrible humans. No, they're just the most positive, optimistic people about what the product can do, and they're excited to tell you about it. Those are at the high level how I would describe that.
That's a quote that we should write on the wall for sure. Yeah, I love that. We've got the next question then. We've got one about a well-known demo automation tool. Where do you see the biggest, so Portia says, where do you see the biggest value for a tool like Consensus or in the post-sale CX?
Oh, in the post-sale? Oh my gosh. How many times are you asked, oh, customer bought X module, they forget what it does. Can you just come in and do a demo for them? Okay, hang on. A generic just Harbor Cruise demo. That's what you want me to come and put. Yeah, and I want somebody great. Okay, I'll do it once and they'll record it. And then I'm going to use that same demo 100 times in the post-sale, but I'll put a different wrapper on the front of it to kind of tailor what I think that would be. I would say the things we get asked for in post-sale are reminders. What did we talk about? What did we buy? How do we use it? Remind me what the drivers of value are here. So to me, it's recapping the sales. And then whenever there's a new executive, package up all those conversations. I can go right into Consensus and say, oh, you've got a new C whatever. Check, check, check. I want these. I put them into a branching demo. I send it off with a nice intro. Now you're all caught up. Or even during the buyer cycle, you should be doing that if you have new execs coming in. So excellent. Recapping, hang on, I got one more, Mark. I use your product a lot.
Yeah, no, I love it. Carry on.
For new execs. And then what's next? Like with SaaS, it can be a little scary because new stuff's coming. I can't even tell you. I mean, there are no release notes. What's coming? It's a great preview opportunity to tee up for customers. And again, do the demo one time. Put together the standard demo, send it to all the customers. It's coming. Here's what it is. It's going to be great. If you want to know more, contact the rep.
Nice. Some fantastic ideas there. Yes. Good to see them being put into action. We've got Jeff Myers. Do you bring long-term customer success concepts into deal reviews? And he gives an example, like, would sales actually pause if there isn't a line of sight to the customer outcome in production?
Are you suggesting we don't think, if the suggestion is we don't think we can achieve what the customer is going to accomplish, I would sincerely hope that someone in that deal review, pre-sales, customer success, was jumping up and down saying this one's going to attrit in a year and it's going to cost us a lot of money that we can't afford. Am I going to say that happens all the time? I can't say that. But I do think that if we on this call, if we are not the responsible stewards of this product is not a fit for this customer, it is going to cost you exponentially more down the line.
Amazing. Yes. So Phil Wood. Hello, Phil. What's your best experience of pre-sales to customer success handover? And yeah, you might not be aware. There's been a lot of chat in the chat about the concept of whether it is a handover and whether that makes it too siloed.
Let's be clear. If there is a handover, it's because there is a silo. You're not handing over anything if you're staying engaged. You're just bringing people in. I've seen customer success done differently at different companies, but almost always there's at least one handover from sales to not sales, because the sales team's job is to move on to the next thing. Does pre-sales stay engaged? What I've done at other companies in the past has been, if the deal is over a certain dollar amount, whoever my solution architect is stays engaged with the handover and on EBRs going forward. It's not a super scalable model. I can't afford to put, my top pre-sales people on all of the deals. So you would have to pick your key accounts if that's a model you want. What I really like is when our pre-sales teams are documenting what are the customers' business reasons for buying it, what are their goals. If we've got different pockets where we're collecting all the documentation and we schedule a conversation to walk the next team in and say, this is what matters, this is what we showed. Equally important would be, this is the product scope we started with, here's where we got to, here's what came out and why, that we should then be coming back to at the end. Because inevitably we go live and someone in the executive suite says, wait a second, what about X reason that I agreed to this? And we have to go back and say, oh, well, analytics got removed for a future phase because it was just something had to go. And they're like, well, that's the only reason I bought the product, right? So why did they buy it? What did they buy? And what changes happened are really important. I will point to the best example of a handover I've ever seen is when I was both pre-sales and sales, and I did the handover personally to customer success. It was a $28 million deal, a 2-day walkthrough. We walked through all of the assets. This is the why. This is what they want. Here are the humans. Here's what they personally care about. Again, not scalable. We have to get in the habit of documenting these things. If we don't digitize this, it's going to be a nightmare of manual processes that we've got to get through. I'll be curious to see what other companies are doing around that. And honestly, all the consensus content is huge for that, because at Blue Yonder, we record all the demos and we put them back into the consensus platform. So we can literally give them to the implementation team and say, this is exactly what we talked about, which really does help.
Sounds like a world-class playbook. So a question from Tony Franchetic. With the C-suite engagement, do you have any tips to get more visibility to the pre-sales team?
I think they have visibility to the pre-sales team. I think they definitely know that you're there, that you're helping sales. But if you're pre-sales leaders, or if you are a pre-sales leader, I think it's up to the pre-sales leaders to be shining a spotlight of value on the teams. I don't know how visible you are if you don't think they know you. You should be sending out regular communications, especially with win wires. Typically pre-sales is like one line. Everybody and their mom is copied on that. Pile on and say, and what pre-sales did was really revolutionary in this account, X, Y, and Z, huge kudos, or a quote from the customer, like, I never would have bought without this person. I think you've got all the tools. I think we always like stay in our lane as pre-sales people. And I'm encouraging you to maybe go on the lane lines a little more and just get more visible and use these assets to get in front of more people.
Excellent. Well, I tell you what, I'm glad these sessions are being recorded, because the gems of knowledge and advice there that you're dropping, Susan, are unreal. We've got a few more minutes. We've probably got time for a couple more questions. But don't worry, because all of the questions that are being posted that we don't get to answer are all being recorded, and we can get back to you at a later date. As of course, all the recordings will be available after Thursday. So another question here. So thank you for sharing these strategies. Could you elaborate on how you measure the success of your customer experience initiatives?
Yes. What I would love to tell you is that I have exceptional telemetry in my product that allows me to verify that customers are using all of these features. That's something we're still building towards. So today, customer experience is measured with a conversation. So Mark, I would verify with you, if you're the customer, these are the metrics that you define as success. If I can measure and track them, I can come back to you and say, look at this great value, or hey, you're not getting as much forecast accuracy as we would expect. Here are the tools I would recommend, or if we benchmark this. So I think the conversation depends on what data you have and the conversations that you're having. We do voice of the customer. I'm not someone that's going to stand and jump up and down and scream about my NPS scores or my CSAT scores. I'm looking at renewals. Are you renewing? Are you renewing, and are you a reference is my sign of success.
Excellent. And then the last one then, we've had a few people ask a similar vein. Kelly is one example here. Susan, did you say Demo Coach would like to learn more about this tool?
Yes, it's really pretty cool. If you go into Google, and I'm not going to do it right now because I'll fail, and just type PowerPoint Demo Coach, it's probably called something else. It's in the online version of PowerPoint, not the desktop one. But if you have a desktop license, you're eligible to use it. So just Google it. And there's a little button that says Presenter Coach or something similar on it. So you open up your presentation in that PowerPoint, you hit Presenter Coach, and it's AI. It's going to record you, and it's comparing what you're saying against the text it can read on the screen for pacing, for filler words, and it'll just very kindly and in a data-driven way make recommendations for how you can improve.
Wonderful. Yes, I've seen it being used to great effect. And yes, I think it's a very good thing to do, especially with everyone working from home, or a lot of people. You can go and practice some things before you even present to your team. So yes. Well, in that case, I'm going to share back the screen again and give everyone some updates on the end of the session. However, Susan, it's an absolute honor to have you kick off our wonderful Demo Fest for everybody. We're going to finish up here, but I would like to remind everybody that we're very excited to announce again that we're bringing back Demo Fest on the road as Demo Fest X. We had a great time in San Francisco in February and can't wait to bring the event back to London and New York City again later this year. Now you can register to join us at either of these events at demofest.com, or use the link over in the Docs tab on the right-hand side of your screen. We encourage you also to stop by our Expo Hall to visit our premier partners of DemoFest. Remember, there is no transfer of money involved in this event. So all our partners here have gone above and beyond to contribute to making this event a success for all of you. So thank you for joining us for this session. And thank you to Susan for the valuable insights and knowledge. Up on the screen are the upcoming sessions. You will be automatically pushed to the next session in your track, and you can switch tracks or sessions by toggling the Agenda tab at the top left of your screen. We'll see you soon.